Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for your patience as we resolve some issues on our end. But I am so excited. Welcome to day two of the Lady Arcader Super Showcase, an all women charity talent showcase event running from July 25th until the 28th, benefiting CARE. The Super Showcase features a bunch of talented women showing off games that they love. Make sure to tune in throughout the weekend and tell your friends by sharing our posts on social media. That'll be at Lady Arcaders. If you'd like the schedule for today, exclamation mark schedule, but we get to start off with something super special. My name is Charbunny, and I am thrilled to be joined by a representative from CARE, our wonderful charity, Christina. Hello!
Hi, I'm so happy to be here, Char.
We're so happy to have you. Thank you for joining us. I wanted to start off by just asking immediately, can you tell us more about CARE and the wonderful work that the team at CARE is doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So CARE is an organization that actually was started in 1945. You've probably heard the phrase to send a care package. Well, that was coined and started with CARE, sending packages to help alleviate suffering after World War II to those affected in Europe. Obviously, we've transformed a little bit of what we do now, but essentially, the care you know today has a mission to work around the globe to save lives, defeat poverty, and achieve social justice. So that's what we do at CARE a little bit.
I love how it's just here's all the cool stuff we do, and it's all amazing things. I'm really excited to chat with you about them. But I do want to start with something that is a bit of a heavier topic. So earlier in the broadcast, we shared a video from CARE that was calling for a ceasefire, something that Lady Arcaders also fully supports. This has been obviously a really challenging area to operate in. I was reading news on your website of women talking about how they've been impacted, how difficult it is to give birth and try to raise a child when there's no running water, how difficult it is to be on your period when there's no sanitary supplies available. I know being on period's a nightmare for me normally. I can't even imagine those circumstances. But I know
Right?
CARE is I know CARE is working to make a difference. Can you talk more about the work that CARE is doing in that region in particular?
Absolutely. So, obviously, it's like you said, it's an incredibly heavy topic, and then specifically, some of these factors aren't really the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of a war zone. So the work that CARE is doing in Gaza and the surrounding Palestinian communities is really vital. One thing specifically about CARE is that we've actually been working in these communities since 1948. So, over these decades of work that we've been doing already, it's allowed us to cultivate a really strong network with key local partners.
Okay.
That has allowed us to get our work out there faster than almost any other international organization in response to this particular crisis. Um,
Amazing.
I know, we're working, we're narrowing down a lot of work really, really finitely, but the key areas that we're working towards as CARE is to help identify and support needs around health, around water, sanitation, and hygiene. Those gender specific needs, like you talked about, being on your period in these war zones, having children and seeking that medical care, shelter, of course, food security. But one of the main things that we can do, all of us can do, and those of you supporting CARE, is helping speak out and making sure that we are all helping support this idea of the immediate ceasefire and the free flow of humanitarian aid throughout Gaza and these regions.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is a message that's very important to be sharing. That video is up on YouTube if anyone would like to share it out on social media. And of course, exclamation mark donate will get you our link in the chat to donate to this wonderful cause and help increase support as well. Something you touched,
Yes.
yeah, definitely. And we've already, by the way, raised $858 just yesterday for CARE, and this is a 4-day event. So I'm so excited to see us growing ever closer to that goal of $2,000. That's an incredible way to start off the weekend.
It's amazing, and we really appreciate it, and everything that everyone donates is going to go directly into helping these programs and our people, go out there and help these communities directly.
Absolutely. Something you mentioned when you were talking about the situations you're dealing with right now is that sort of listening approach of really trying to figure out what communities need. I thought that was something that was so cool about CARE's approach. It's not going in and saying, here's what we're going to do. It's tell us what you need. How can we best make a difference here? Can you talk to us a little bit more about that sort of listening first, really locally led approach that CARE takes?
Yeah, it's very unique to care in the work we do. It's one of our main pillars in impact areas is that everything that we're working towards is locally led. 70 or I'm sorry, 97% of our staff that we have globally are actually from these countries or these regions where
Oh,
we are doing the work. So it allows us to have that response to emergencies as soon as they happen, and then we stay long after TV cameras or news coverage has left. It also lets us get the input of the communities
mm.
directly into the work that we're doing. So rather than just going in and handing out supplies and then uh, saying peace out, essentially,
Here
we're
you go,
there.
see you
We're able,
later.
yeah, bye. We're there to talk to the people and say, what do you need right now? One thing that we do year over year is we go into our communities that we're working with, and we speak to the women. And year over year, we ask them, what do you need right now, and what recommendations do you have to help impact those change areas?
Mm.
One thing that I thought was really interesting in this report that we do between last year and this year, one of the main areas last year that was talked about was a focus on getting mental health support. And this year, safety has actually become a big prioritization for the women in these communities. Obviously, looking at the landscape of what's happening in the world. So that allowed us to shift our programs and shift our way of supporting them to make sure that we are keeping what the communities want first and foremost on the work that we're doing.
Incredible. It's difficult to have that sort of dynamic, responsive approach, especially with how many different places you're operating in, how many different communities you're partnering with in order to make these changes happen. So the fact that you're able to respond and update your processes is incredible for an organization, but also definitely helps escalate that impact to make things even better. I'm curious, as you've been listening, is there anything you've learned from a community that's surprised you or sort of caught you off guard compared to what you might have expected would have been beneficial?
I mean, everything. I've been with Care now just over a year, and obviously, I say obviously, I'm based in the U.S.
Got
And
it.
the work that I do is very much so in our HR field. So I like to say that I get to care for those who are caring for the communities.
So cute.
Um, and I hear stories from our staff always that just every single day, just my jaw
Mhm.
hits the floor on things that I'm hearing. And obviously it's one of those things that you know about, you hear about, but we're in a position where I live of incredible just uh oh, the word has just escaped my brain.
Privilege is the word that's coming to mind
Yes,
for
thank
me,
you,
yeah.
privilege. And so getting to not only hear these stories, it is incredibly humbling, and then to hear the impact they have and the lasting impact generation over generation that these programs are having every single day just reminds me, it makes me so proud of the work we do, and it makes me love working with an organization like Care. And even though it's really heavy content, it it's so important, and I'm so proud every day of the work that we do.
Getting teary-eyed. That
I am
that
gonna
is
get
such an important
teary-eyed.
thing though, right? Like, I know I'm also in the US, also very privileged that I don't have to deal with a lot of barriers that women might face in other regions, a lot of the instability that may be faced in other regions. And I know that when I see these stories, I always want to do something, but I feel so far away from what's happening. I feel so ineffectual in my ability to make change happen. And so that's why I'm so excited to be part of this event this weekend, raising money for such a wonderful organization that does have the power to make things better so that I can do my best to contribute to all the different improvements that care
And
makes.
Char, I love that you bring that up because it is every little bit helps and every way of
Mm,
approaching it helps. It, I work in the field that I work in of human resources, so but even that way of supporting our people is helping them get the work out there. All the donations that
right.
we're getting is supporting these programs, and so every single person can help in their way. You don't have to be the one right there handing out the waters. Doing whatever you can do at whatever level is incredibly impactful in this work.
Absolutely. So, yeah, everyone here who's been watching, donating, supporting this event, supporting our charity partner throughout the weekend, you are also helping make this difference. We are so incredibly thankful for all of you. I want to talk more about some of the other work that CARE does. Like, it's all about this community-led efforts. I read a really cool story though on your website as well. Shout out to the website, by the way. People should definitely go check out the CARE website and the news section in particular. There's some incredible stories there.
Mhm.
One I was reading was about a woman named, I believe, Fallon Violetta. I want to make sure I get the name right. Violetta, who started a clothing business over in El Salvador. And something that she ran into that was unexpected for me is that she could not get a loan in her own name. She had to have a male co-signer, which immediately, like, really? Eyes went red, like, little bowl steam coming out of my ears. Like, are you kidding me, people? Like, you gotta get better than this. But it reminds me that even in the US, that was something that wasn't actually that common until a couple decades ago. I think my grandmother wouldn't have been able to take out loans in her own name either. And it's just a reminder of how many different barriers women face when looking for things like equality or financial independence. I know that's something CARE has tackled as well and is working towards. So, can you talk more about CARE's approach to partnering with women on maybe like financial independence and improving their financial
Yeah.
situation?
So CARE has a unique program called our Village Savings and Loan Associations. We call them our VSLAs. We love acronyms. Most organizations do. Um, but these programs are built specifically to help empower women financially to support their livelihood in their communities. They're groups of about 15 to 30 members in a community. And what the way they work is it creates a collective savings seed loans that are then distributed to women in these communities that support education or their businesses or any kind of other transformative investments they may have. The loan repayment structure supports this cycle within the communities to help support that development and that economic growth. The biggest things that I like to think of with these, because there's so many different examples of these stories that there I can't just pick one, but in the end, these programs they act as engines of opportunity to transform these women's lives economically, socially, and politically. They offer financial independence to these members of the communities, which builds their credibility to influence decisions. And that helps
Oh,
shift the balance of power, not only in their households, but in their communities and even on national levels. So they get to help the women come in and speak up and have a voice and be that credible voice within the communities to say, I should be able to get a loan. I shouldn't need my husband or father to sign off on this. Women can have this level of autonomy in their livelihood to help better the community. And it allows us to essentially give them not only a platform but the backing to say, "See, this works, and it works well, and it's
that's
fantastic."
That's such a powerful thing to be able to say, "See, this works," because there's definitely a lot of people when you come to them, they're skeptical. It's like, "Oh, it won't work. I'm not gonna listen." But when you have that data behind you that says, "Yes, this does work. Yes, we can do this," I think that's so powerful. And I loved how
Mhm.
you touched on as well, it's not just about improving the lives of the women in particular, it's that ripple effect where that enhances their families, their communities, and money being power, like, enables them to start affecting other broader changes. I think that's so cool. Can you talk a little bit more about that specific approach and how you partner with women in particular and girls in communities to affect this change?
Yeah, so we go in and essentially we help build the foundational framework for these programs. We find that the women who are part of the programs in the different communities are 54 times more likely to own assets rather than anyone in the communities who
Oh,
are non-participants. One
54
example,
times is a wild
yeah,
number. I'm
that's
blown away by
crazy,
that.
right?
It's incredible.
Um, in Yemen, for example, 49% of the participants in these programs utilize the funds to pursue business ventures. So they're gaining these funds, these loans, and then they're going out and they're actually starting businesses, just like that story that you were
Mhm.
referencing. And these businesses are then rippling out into the communities and those women are then increasing their income by 153% on average. just within the
Oh,
first year of participating in this. What we're seeing is within 5 years, it's like 275% of their income, their livelihood. And
right.
obviously, as we know, economics wise, that effect goes out. It not only ripples out economically, but then their daughters are seeing this and they're seeing
Right.
a better future for themselves. And now that they are empowered with that, they want to gain that education. They are starting to plan for their futures, businesses they want to run and how to get there. And it's incredible to see that social shift in mindset with how just one woman running a business, getting a little bit of seed money to run a business and what that can do to change the entire community's way of thinking. It's incredible.
Those are mind-blowing numbers. I'm so excited. When you said, "Oh, it works and we can show that it works," like, you were not kidding. That is some
We can.
excellent proof of the type of impact these programs, these partnerships really can have in these with these women's lives. That's incredible. I know we're running a little bit out of time. I don't wanna hold the rest of the marathon, but I
I know,
do
I don't either.
have to indulge a little bit in a final question here. Last event, we got to see you play Hades, which was super duper fun. Since then, I've heard that there's something called maybe Hades 2. Have you had a chance to play it yet? And if so, what are your thoughts
Uh,
on the game so far?
so the game is in early access. I picked Hades last year because it was a woman created game, and I am a junkie for Greek mythology anyway. Hades 2 is in early access, and I am happy to say that I have done literally everything you can do in early access playing it. I love it. It's a fantastic game. If you haven't played it yet, you should. And I think they are set to roll out their first major update. I think kind of their first pass at the full release later this year. So it's a female led character this time. So you play as a female character, and many of the main characters are female driven again, so I love it. I love that it's shifting that narrative that for so long had been very patriarchy focused. And it's bringing out a lot of those different themes that are based in true Greek mythology, and letting you experience that as a gamer. And it's fantastic and I love it.
Sweet. Shout outs to games and gamers. I think we may have a few gamers watching here today as
Yeah, I
well.
think so.
Okay, well, I think that'll wrap things up. So, again, this is Christina O'Brien from Cara. Do you have any final words you'd like to say to our audience?
Just again, thank you to everyone who has donated or is thinking about donating. Or if you can't donate, share the stream, share it with your communities. Tell your friends that it's here, and come watch some amazing lady gamers. I was watching all day yesterday and you guys were wonderful. I'm going to keep watching today. But spreading the word is one really easy, simple way that you can help and contribute and be a part of the change.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, everyone. Thank you again to Cara and Christina for partnering with us on this event. So excited to have you here. And this is going to bring us into quite the lineup for today, by the way. So first off, exclamation mark donate in the chat. Exclamation mark donate is going to bring you right to the page. You can donate. You can check out our bid wars and incentives for today. And we have so many cool things coming up today. Throughout the day, we're going to have a Sonic block. We've got a rhythm block. You know, those are always killer for speedrun events. So really excited for those. Up next is going to be Final Fantasy Randomizer and a little bit later Kirby Squeak Squad. You don't want to miss any of those, so please go ahead and stick around. We'll be back soon with more Lady Arcaders Super Showcase.